also. Federal, we see a mixture of Chippendale, of Hepplewhite and Sheraton here. We see a drum table. We see the Christmas chair form. This is, Duncan Fife is federal and into onto the empire. American empire gets heavier. This again is federal. The crisscross that we see, the refined shape of the drum table. We see the Constitution mirror over here, in this case between the windows. Here is a wonderful Queen Anne sculptured Philadelphia chair. This to me, and I would like you to see it, is much shapelier than the usual English Queen Anne. But that's not to say that no English Queen Anne would ever be shapely. But I'm not going to show you, okay, for the purposes of an exam, if I have told you that the Americans did the most graceful, the shapeliest, the most sculptural, I'm not going to show you an unusually sculptural English one. If I show you a very sculptural, with shapely, with the curving beaks and all, it will be American. If I show you a more straightforward one, it will be an English one. So that I know that you've seen the general characteristics. Yes?
And in England, I wouldn't see the carving on the Queen Anne.
The carving?
The top.
Okay, no. The English would almost invariably not have carving on the top.
If it would be early Georgian.
Would be early, well, if the English did, it would be early Georgian. They'd have carving in other places too. But that's a good observation. And again, this would be Philadelphia. The best of the high points would be apt to be Boston. See, an English piece of furniture might have a top like this, would never be this form, the raised. See, here's sort of the flatter carving in America. But as I said, that's hard for you to see with just one leg joint. And again, this is an armchair, this is a side chair. This is made in New York. We see the Gedruiting. By the time we were into this style, New York was an important center of design. Both of these are Chippendale American made. Serpentine, this is Philadelphia. The
I did that one.
The scroll arm, thank you. Chippendale, because of the square, this might have Queen Anne legs. The rest of it would be pretty much the same. This, the Queen Anne with the bonnet top. Sometimes it had a closed bonnet, but usually had a bonnet top. Here, the Chippendale, just the facade, the Rococo carving, which is really spectacular. The ball and clawfoot with the cabriole leg. These chest on chest, I showed you these. Late colonial. This block front, remember, is, there are a couple of pieces in England. This is identified primarily with Newport, Rhode Island, with the cabinet makers, the families of Goddard and Townsend. And block front is 3 sections. These two, both sideboards, both federal, Hepplewhite and Sheraton. Duncan Fife again, and Charles Edouard Lanier. These 2 pieces I showed you before. And guidelines for study are follow the images you need to know specifically, memorize those. Look at very carefully at the review guidelines, which I took a great deal of time to do. Not to do me a favor, I took a great deal of time to do them because they helped. Memorize the basic characteristics of each style so that you can go on and identify them. Don't memorize, this is the chair with the blue suit. Oh, and somebody asked me this afternoon in terms of what goes into the exam. It's pretty much the same format as the midterm, except there are 2 types of questions that you didn't have on midterm. So there are fewer identifications. There's going to be a matching question with, I will give you 10 names, and then I will give you 10 periods or styles to identify those names with. What might be tricky is Sheraton could either be neoclassical or late colonial. Somebody who could be 2. Somebody who could be either Rococo or a given period. but there are others that could be only one choice, so you're left with one by process of elimination, you know what I mean? If you do all of those that could be only one, then the one that's left over has to be in the empty space. 10 names to match. Then there are going to be 10 style characteristics to match, like match broken pediment to something, match cabriole leg to something. And those are going to be, again, 10 and 10.
So wait, you will give us cabriole legs and we have to...
I'm not going to tell you what I'm
No,
going to
no,
give you.
I'm just saying,
Yes.
like, you know, if you give cabriole legs, so you have to match it with chair?
No.
Oh.
You have to match it with the name of a period
Okay.
that used it. No, not with a chair,
Yeah.
but a characteristic. Like if I said thrust forward portico, you'd have to match it with Palladio, except that was before the midterm. So you'll have those two matching, and then you'll have drawings. And the drawings will mostly be not ornament, because we don't need the canvas leaves anymore. The drawings will be mostly a form of furniture, like the forms of the names that you need. And you'll have to match up the form with a list, just the same.
There won't be